This is Family Time 112, and we're going to do a classmate interview this week. We're looking at the social awareness, social emotional learning competency, specifically looking at perspective taking, empathy, appreciating diversity, and respecting others. A great way to pursue empathy is to talk to people, to have meaningful conversations. And I always talk about pursuing empathy. We discussed this when we were talking about core values. Empathy is one of my core values because I believe it's the impossible pursuit. We're never able to truly feel how someone else feels. We don't have the exact same experiences. We don't have the same biological, social, emotional makeup. We react to similar things differently, but we can pursue empathy. We can try to understand where someone else is coming from, and we can respond with compassion and respect. I think one of the best ways to do that is to interview people. It's one of my favorite things to do with the other media stuff that I do outside of schools. When I get an opportunity to interview someone, to connect with someone that I haven't met before. And sometimes it's not even an interview. It may be I've met cool, interesting people at a jiu-jitsu tournament or something like that, just by talking to people, taking a little time to ask about people. I'm trying to be better about that in my daily life because so many of our daily conversations, of our daily interactions, are so superficial. And part of that has to do with time. We've got a lot going on. We're all busy. We don't always make time for deep conversations, which is too bad. Because we all feel deeply, we all have challenges in our lives, we've all experienced traumas, we've all had hopes and dreams and joys and failures and all of these things that make us who we are. And we often don't share those things. We often don't ask other people about those meaningful experiences in their lives. Look at a couple of adults having a conversation. Meeting someone for the first time, it's a lot of, what do you do for a living? Well, this is my job. Okay, this is my job. That's kind of the conversation. And a lot of times our conversations don't get much deeper than that. I sometimes struggle with small talk conversations. A lot of times, I find, especially amongst getting a group of adults together, is they just want to complain about things. Yeah, my job, my life, whatever it is. And it doesn't really do a lot for me. I don't really believe in complaining as an activity. I respect that some people just want to vent and they need to have a safe space to get things off of their chests, and that's okay. But I find so much of that to be fairly superficial as well. It's a lot more meaningful if we can actually connect with someone and dig a little bit deeper. That's why I love interviewing people, setting aside an actual time where this is the task, this is what we're doing. I think we should probably do that with our friends more, to set aside time and just, I'm going to ask you questions, you can ask me questions, and we're going to have a conversation for conversation's sake. And learn things about each other. And I don't always do that. I have friends, I have people I consider friends who I maybe don't know a lot about how they grew up or experiences they've had in their lives, and that's too bad, really. I'm missing out on a potential connection that we might have, or something I might learn from them. So I'm going to kind of force your hand a little bit this week. In my classes, we're going to first spend some time brainstorming on some deeper questions that we could ask in an interview. Beyond the, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? Where were you born? Those sorts of things. Those are okay as an entry. In regular conversation, often in an interview, we might need to start with those simpler questions before we can dig a little deeper. It might be something like, two adults meeting, what do you do for a living? Somebody asks, or somebody responds, this is what I do for a living. And the next question could be, what do you like most about that job? What's the most frustrating part of that job? How did you get into that line of work? Is it what you really want to be doing? That causes the other person to, we don't want to bombard them or make them uncomfortable, but it gives them an opportunity to share a story. It gives them an opportunity to offer up a little piece of themselves. And that's what we want to do. So we're going to brainstorm together, come up with some questions that dig a little deeper. I'm often interested in things that you don't want to just throw on people right away necessarily. But stuff like, what's your proudest moment? What's the worst moment of your life? How did you deal with that? How did you get through it? I love when I get a chance to interview somebody in kind of a media setting to ask things like that, like, this traumatic experience, how did you feel at the time? How did you get through it? Not in a negative way, I don't want to bring them down, but I'm interested because that helps shape who that person is. And I can learn something from it that I might be able to bring into my life. And that makes us better. I think every conversation like that I've had in my life, even if I don't wind up having a connection with that person, has improved my life. I've taken something away from every one of those interviews or any time that I've had a deeper conversation with someone. That's important. That's good. That helps us on that road to empathy. Then in my class, at least, I'm going to have people just kind of draw numbers and we're going to partner up. So it's not, I'm going with a friend of mine. We're going to ask the questions and then try to give legitimate answers. And it might be a little uncomfortable. It's funny in class if I have all of you write something down. The vast majority of everyone will have something to write down if I'm asking about the last couple weeks, talking about core values, those sorts of things, areas of focus. But then when I asked to share in class, and we've gotten a lot better, a lot more people are more comfortable sharing. And that's awesome. And for those who are uncomfortable, I understand. And if you're the type of person who's not I don't really like the spotlight on me, that's not a bad thing. That's okay. It's okay to be introverted. There's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of introverted people have a lot going on in their heads and their hearts. And when you'll write something down, and then I'll read it, and I think, well, this is exceptional. This is such a wonderful idea or a beautiful thought. And it's okay that you didn't share it with everyone. But understand, you have something to share. You have something to say. And if you say it, if you share it with other people, it might be the one thing somebody else needs to hear. And it might make someone else feel less alone. It might let someone feel like they're not the only one who thinks a certain way or feels a certain thing if you're willing to share that too. So we're going to do some interviews this week. We're going to have fun with it. I want to talk about what we learned from each other. And that's a great gift we have. In a school, not just the curriculum being taught, but the people who surround us, that we can learn from, that can support us, that can elevate us. And that's what we want to do. We want to surround ourselves with people who raise the bar, who help elevate us, who bring the best out of us. I'm appreciative that I get to spend so much time with all of you. You do that for me. Until next time, much love.